Welcome to In the Zone with Anthony. And I'm back at you again because there is a lot in the world of sports, college football news, announcers attacking. Just a whole lot going on. And I really want to start out with a guy by the name of Jason Whitlock, because to me it is disturbing. Seems like every week he has something to say about Deion Sanders. It's as if there's nobody else to talk about but Deion. Well, I was always taught that whenever you put your mouth on someone or you have somebody's name in your mouth at all times, as is the case with Jason Whitlock, because it seems like something comes out every week about what he has to say about Deion. Don't you know you make that person the most important person in the world? Good, bad, or indifference? Now, I know we hear the word Deion is keeping receipts. Well, you sure are giving him a whole lot of receipts to keep. Anyway, there's an article. Jason Whitlock calls out morally bankrupt Deion Sanders. And he went on Twitter and said that Deion is expressing a feminine, morally bankrupt worldview. He's passing it off as confidence and a false vibrato. Let me, if I can, pull up the audio because he had a lot to say.
Deion is expressing a feminine, morally bankrupt worldview. And he's passing it off as confidence and a false bravado. He either is so devoid of self-reflection and understanding of the bigger picture, he doesn't know what he's doing, or he knows exactly what he's doing. He's dressing up a harmful worldview, a feminine worldview, a demonic worldview. He's dressing it up and calling it Christianity, and it bothers me. Anybody can course correct. If Deion course corrects, if he hears, because this is a pretty big receipt I'm writing Deion. If he hears this as authentic criticism and course corrects, or just self-evaluate, reflect. A 56-year-old man is insisting on other adults calling him prime, calling him some nickname, some materialistic nickname. A 56-year-old man is running around with gold chains like a rapper, like a 19-year-old rapper. This is a level of insecurity and false bravado that's frightening. And Deion, I think, wrote a book, a biography or autobiography or a memoir, and confessed in there that he contemplated suicide. And I watch his behavior and I go, yeah, I can see that. This man is incredibly insecure. Nobody with his level of accomplishments, his good looks, his charm should be beating their chest constantly. Look how great I am. And so some of you will misinterpret some of the things I do on this show. And so, I come on this show and I crack jokes about how good I look. That's self-deprecation. I'm overweight. I'm in my 50s. I'm not like a Deion Sanders. These guys. This is just me cracking a joke. Blah blah blah. Deion has no humility, none, and it's frightening. And at 56, it's beneath the character of a 56-year-old. You've lived long enough that you should, if you're watching the signs of what's going on with you and the world, you should have been humbled by now. And Deion's not humble, and it's dressed up as Christianity. It's offensive to me.
Alrighty. So, the words of one Jason Whitlock, who is bothered by Deion Sanders. But what got my attention is he says he's dressing it up as Christianity. Well, first of all, Mr. Whitlock, I was taught you don't talk about another man's religion as well, too. And the other thing is, you throwing all these stones, as you said, you're writing receipts. No, brother, man, I'm going to tell you like it is. You throwing stones. You throwing rocks. And my advice to you is make sure that you're not living in a glass house. Next thing I want to address, because I'm harping on this fact, he said he's bothered because he's dressing up as Christianity, that he's not humble, he has no humility. First of all, do you have cameras following this man around 24/7, 7 days a week, to say that this man has no humility? To say that he's painting a false narrative? And the chains you talk about he wearing, he's not wearing no big old brooches going around looking like Public Enemy and Chuck D. You said he's looking like a 19-year-old rapper. What does a 19-year-old rapper looks like? Jason, you're almost getting as personal as Jay Norvell because, one, you're questioning this man's religion. You're questioning this man's faith. And at the end of the day, unless you really sit down and get to know this man, and no, I'm not defending Deion, I'm just throwing out some facts. And I hope Jason Whitlock hears this. As Jason Whitlock saying, I'm writing some receipts for you too. You don't know what kind of relationship Deion and God has to say that he's painted under the guise of Christianity to where you can question it. Anyway, let me get you heard what he said. This is Jason Whitlock. He says Deion is expressing a feminine. First of all, how is he expressing a feminine, morally bankrupt worldview? And he's passing it off as confidence and false bravado. Ever since he stepped on campus in Colorado, he, in my opinion, and everybody has an opinion, which is why I don't knock one's opinion, he's basically deflected everything to his players. The love he has for Dylan Edwards, who he's known since he was 4 years old. Travis Hunter, who he calls his other son. Deion Sanders. Shiloh. All of his players. The players got his phone number. You say this man's not humble? I believe he's confident in his players. But he says Deion is expressing a feminine, morally bankrupt worldview, and he's passing it off as confidence and false bravado. He either is so devoid of self-reflection and understanding of the bigger picture that he doesn't know what he's doing, or he knows exactly what he's doing. He's dressing up a harmful worldview, a feminine worldview, a demonic worldview. He's dressing it up and calling it Christianity, and it bothers me. Well, Mr. Whitlock, if it bothers you that bad, next time you see Deion Sanders on TV and you see him in an interview, turn the channel. That's plain and simple. Turn the channel. You do not have to look at every interview. You do not have to critique his every move. Because trust me, from what I've seen in you call this thing with him in Colorado a clown show. You haven't said nothing nice about him. And I'm going to take a page out of Jay Norvell's book. Mr. Jason Whitlock, my mama taught me that if you couldn't say something nice about somebody, don't say nothing at all. That's what my mother taught me. Now you figure out the rest. So, as it goes on here, he said he's dressing up and calling it Christianity, and it bothers me. Anybody can course correct. If Deion course corrects, if he hears this is a pretty big receipt, I'm right, Deion. If he hears this as authentic criticism and course corrects or just self-evaluate, reflect. Now here he goes again. A 56-year-old man is insisting on other adults calling him Prime, some materialistic nickname. He's been known as Prime ever since his high school days when he was playing basketball and dunking on somebody. It's a title that's done ran with him from high school to college to pros to coaching. Even had his own Prime Academy. Granted, that didn't go so well, but still. When you say Deion Sanders, you associate that name with Coach Prime, prime time. You know, we talk about our white coaching brothers that may resent what Deion is doing. But Jason Whitlock, what are you jealous about? Are you jealous of the fact that you are not having an impact on young men like Coach Prime is? And no, he wasn't insistent on me calling him that. But Coach Prime is having an impact on these players wearing CU on the side of their helmet, whether it's a gold helmet, whether it's a white helmet, or the Colorado on the front of the jersey, whether it's a white jersey or a black jersey. Then he goes around and says a 56-year-old man is running around with gold chains on like a 19-year-old rapper. This is a level of insecurity and false bravado that's frightening. Deion wrote an autobiography, a memoir, and confessed in there that he contemplated suicide. Okay, he made a confession. Everybody at some point should confess something. You know what? I'm not going to go through this whole article, but what I am going to say is, Jason Whitlock, if your job is a journalist, shouldn't you have more things to be worried about than Deion Sanders? Another thing my mother taught me. Yes, I'm going hard on my mother taught me. And I hope that Jason Whitlock, I really do, I hope he hears this. Because I'm not taking back anything I say. I'm not going to double back, you know. I'm unapologetically telling the truth the way I see it. But Jason Whitlock, there are more people to cover than Deion Sanders. It's like you just nitpicking. Every week you got something to say about this, about that, as if he's the only person in the world that exists. And don't you know, this is one of those things my mother taught me. If all you can do is say something, whether it be good or bad about Deion, and Deion is constantly on your brain, and you got to say something about him, and most times it's negative, don't you know Deion's probably somewhere sleeping like a baby, and you bothered making him the most important person in the world. The more you talk about him, the more you think about him, you're making him that much more important. All I'm saying to you, Jason, get a grip on things, man. Get a grip. It ain't that serious. Because what I see in Deion is something totally different than what you see. And I'm not about to cast judgment. See, that's another thing. The Bible taught me this, and I'm pretty sure since you mentioned Christianity, the Bible also taught me this, Mr. Whitlock, that Judge not that ye not be judged. For in the same measure that you judge someone, you're going to get the same judgment. Once again, I hope you hear this. You need to hear this. Because maybe this will make you step back and do a self-assessment on yourself while you're trying to get somebody else to self-evaluate themselves. Anyway, you're listening to In the Zone with Anthony. I am going to take a break, catch my breath. And when I come back, I'm going to have some more for you. So stay locked in the zone with yours truly, Anthony Smith. Be right back. Welcome back to In the Zone with Anthony. And right now, as I am doing this podcast, there is some breaking news. Per Adrian Wojnarowski, the Portland Trail Blazers are trading guard Damian Lillard to the Milwaukee Bucks. Yes, you heard that right. Lillard goes to Milwaukee as part of a 3-team deal with Jrue Holiday, DeAndre Ayton, Toumani Camara, a 2029 unprotected Milwaukee first and unprotected Milwaukee swap rights in 2028 and 2030. To the Blazers, Phoenix lands Yusuf Nurkic, Grayson Allen, Nasir Little, and Keon Johnson. So that is some breaking news right there. That's right, breaking news. So with that being said, what I want to do is I want to stick with basketball. Yes, I know it's football season, but every now and then we get some basketball news. And of course, around here in Wichita, the only football we have in town is Friends University. And I will get to that too because I am expanding in the zone. I will be showing some love also to the KCAC League, which is where Friends is a member of. Also, Sterling College, Tabor, schools of that magnitude here in the state of Kansas. But there is some more basketball news as Quincy Acy wants to bring angry style to Wichita State basketball as assistant coach. This is from the Wichita Eagle contributing writer Taylor Eldridge. During his standout career at Baylor and 7-year tenure in the NBA, Quincy Acy was known for bringing toughness to whatever team he was on. Standing just 6'7", Acy made up for what he lacked in height as a post player with a relentless pursuit of the basketball. It seems only natural for someone who earned the nickname Angry Acy for his style of play on the court to be the one who tries to bring the angry style of play back to the Wichita State men's basketball team. Notice it said back to because who was it that instituted the play angry? None other than the big dog, Antoine Carr, who epitomizes play angry. He says, every time I stepped on the court, I brought that aggression with me, and I think that will really translate and be something that everyone can get on board with, said Acy, who was hired as an assistant coach in April. You've got to play with an aggression, an edge, a toughness that's unmatched. Acy is the only member of Paul Mills's debut staff with the Shockers without coaching college coaching basketball experience. He did spend last season as a player development coach in the Dallas Mavericks organization at the G League level for the Texas Legends, but he never recruited or put together a scouting report. Yet, Acy was a priority hire for Mills, who valued his mentality ever since he coached him as an assistant at Baylor from 2008 through 2012. So many people pay attention to the accolades rather than attributes, but I pay more attention to attributes, Mills said. A lot of guys have significant accolades, but they don't have the character or integrity or the work ethic. The knock on NBA guys is that they don't understand the work that's involved at the college level, but Quincy understands it. More importantly, who he is as a person is going to help. He has tremendous accolades, but more importantly, he's got the attributes to contribute to a winning program. Long gone are the play angry days during the Greg Marshall era when the Shockers logged 10 top 15 seasons of defensive rebounding percentage in the country during an 11-year period. As of late, WSU has been plainly mediocre when it comes to retrieving defensive rebounds. The team ranked number 166 out of 363 last season in defensive rebounding rate. While Mills' teams at Oral Roberts were a far cry from a dominant defensive rebounding bunch, Acy hopes his presence can bring back that level of dominance on the glass. What I like at the college level is that these guys are young, they're hungry, and they just want to work, said Acy, who can still play at a high level with his 33rd birthday next Friday. That's what attracted me to this job, because I'm still young and can get out there and bump with the guys a little. I think that's going to be really beneficial. Not only can Acy tell WSU's big men what to do, he's quick to take the court and show them what he wants. Acy is a regular during practice drills and isn't afraid to battle down low with the players. He has become a mentor to WSU's trio of centers, Kenny Poto, Jacob Germany, and Quincy Ballard. He often watches film with each one before the start of practice to deliver pointers and critique their games. Few assistant coaches in the country can check all those boxes. Coach Acy has been a huge help. WSU's returning player Isaac Kabidi said, I try to pick his brain as much as possible and try to learn from him. He's always giving me tips during practice and telling me what to focus on. He can still dunk a little bit when he gets out there, too. Whenever we do drills, he likes to play defense, and he's very engaged. That helps us a lot. While fellow assistant coaches Kenton Paulino and T.J. Cleveland are both former college standouts, they have spent the past decade at the coaching level. Fresh out of the game, Acy brings a different perspective to Mills' staff. I've always looked at the game for the last 30 years from the sideline, Mills said. It's different when you're a player. If you ask me to go run a play, I know where to go mentally, but it's totally different executing. I know what it's supposed to look like standing over there in the coach's box, but doing it as a player is different. It's kind of like you're trying to get Acy to look at this thing a little differently rather look a little differently and train his eyes. It's not that he doesn't understand sometimes. It just happens so fast, and things you grasp when you're on the court are totally different when you're over there on the sidelines. It's a different vantage point. Working out professional players last season was a helpful starter course for what Acy will have to do with the Shockers when official team practices for the 2023-24 season begin Wednesday at Koch Arena. While he still sees the game from a player's perspective, he gained valuable experience as a coach in the G League. It's really important how you speak to players, Acy said. It's about empowering them. I learned a lot of different tips along the way that I think really translate. It's all about relationships and treating people the right way. Players don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. One area that has been a seamless transition for Acy has been the recruiting game. While Mills has 2 decades of coaching experience on his resume, sometimes it can't match the fact that Acy was an NBA veteran who played recently enough to still resonate with college players. His connections have opened new doors for Wichita State in recruiting, and his charisma and name have already made a difference. Kids don't necessarily care about if you have been there. They want to know, can you get me there, Mills said. There's a lot of really good coaches who can paint a vision about the steps you need to take. That's why it's great to have Quincy, who has actually done it. It used to work. I used to work Quincy out before games, and he couldn't hit water if he fell out of a boat. But he became a 42% three-point shooter in the NBA. I remember days if he nicked the rim, he was celebrating. He's a testament to putting in the work. This is a guy who I watch do it and put in the work. And that's what people want, is someone who can get the most out of their abilities. Quincy is going to 100% be able to help with that. So there you have some news on WSU's assistant, Quincy Acy. And I know you're looking forward now to the basketball season to see the work that the coaches are putting in with these players who, as I listen to people, I'm getting a vibe that 50%, and I'm probably pretty accurate, 50% think that it's going to be a down year. Another 50% are optimistic that it'll be either a break even or maybe a few games over 500. Me being a Shocker fan, I said, let's just get on board and support this team. Win, lose, or draw. There is some more to get to. Lots more to get to. And keeping things here locally. Some more news as we look at local things happening. WSU and Major League star Mike Pelfrey joins Capon Mount Carmel. A name familiar to Wichita State baseball fans has a new job. Capon Mount Carmel Catholic High School has hired Mike Pelfrey as its new head baseball coach this year. Pelfrey has a long list of credits to his name at Wichita State University. He was freshman, All-American in 2003, two-time All-American in 2004 and 2005, and two-time Missouri Valley Conference Pitcher of the Year. The New York Mets drafted him in the first round in 2005. He played 12 seasons in the major leagues, including with the Mets, Minnesota Twins, Detroit Tigers, Chicago White Sox. When Pelfrey returned to Wichita, he coached at Newman University and then as the pitching coach at Wichita State University. Some of his honors include induction into Shocker Athletics Hall of Fame in 2012, Wichita Sports Hall of Fame in 2018, Kansas Baseball Hall of Fame in 2019, and Kansas Sports Hall of Fame in 2019. We're excited to have such a high caliber coach as Mike leading our baseball program, KMC Athletic Director John Heiss said in a news release. From his experience playing baseball at the highest level and then moving on to coaching, we know he will do great things here at KMC. I'm excited to have the chance to develop young people and make a difference in their lives, Pelfrey said. I look forward to helping these young men reach new heights on and off the field. So there you have news of Mike Pelfrey being hired to take over that Capon Mount Carmel Catholic High School baseball program. So we want to wish him nothing but the best. I So with that being said, what I am going to do now, I am going to take a break. And when I come back, we're going to still stay in the zone because there is so much more to come. So don't you dare go nowhere. You are in the zone, locked in with your boy, Anthony Smith. Hope you are enjoying being locked in here.
Go, left it to the bank like, yeah. I got it in tens, 20, 50, hundreds, tens, 20, 50, hundreds, tens, 20, 50, hundreds, tens, 20, 50, hundreds. Left it to the bank like, pedal to the floor, need no brake lights.
Look, moving too bossy, we don't tread softly, but not flossy, the streets that taught me, moving too bossy, we don't tread softly, but not flossy, the streets that taught me, I'm just trying to get my nigga paid. We came from Section 8.
Welcome back to In the Zone with Anthony. And I told you I was going to expand in the zone and
Look, dollar bill, listen close, this is not a drill.
when I say expand my in the zone, I am venturing into looking at, right now I'm on the KCAC website, looking at the rankings in NAIA football. I know that's probably not heard of around these parts of the wood, but you're going to hear from me. And I am going to be doing a lot of reaching out to coaches, reaching out possibly to athletic directors as we build this podcast, but also build relationships. I've even spoke with the coach at Sterling College, and he was humble enough to text back or tweet back or X back, whatever they call it nowadays. This stuff changes so much. I don't know what's worse, conference realignment or changing of the name of a social media content. Y'all help me with that. I don't know what's worse. But anyway, we're looking at the NAIA rankings, and coming in at number 1 is Northwestern Iowa. Coming in number 2, Grandview, Iowa. Coming in number 3, Morningside, also another Iowa school. I guess it's a safe bet to say in Iowa they play football. Coming in number 4 is Indiana Wesleyan. They are from Indiana, obviously. Number 5 is Marion, Indiana. Number 6, Bethel, Tennessee. Number 8, Kaiser, Florida. Coming in number 9, right here in the state of Kansas, those mound builders from Southwestern. Coming in number 10, Carroll, out of Montana. Number 11, Lindsey Wilson, Kentucky. Okay, I got this right now. Here we go. That's right. Southwestern was number 8. Carroll, Montana, number 9. Lindsey Wilson, number 10. Coming number 11, Montana Tech. Number 12, and they have fallen. They were 7 the previous week. College of Idaho. Number 13, St. Francis, Illinois. Number 14, Dort, Iowa. Number 15, Concordia, Michigan. Number 16, St. Xavier, out of Illinois. Number 17, St. Thomas, Florida. Number 18, from just across the state line, Evangel, out of Missouri. Number 19, Cumberland's, Kentucky. Number 20, Georgetown, Kentucky. Number 21, Texas Wesleyan. Number 22, Benedictine out of Kansas. So there's 3 teams ranked in the top 25 in the state of Kansas. Number 23, Dickinson State, North Dakota. Number 24, Reinhardt, Georgia. And number 25, I guess you would say OAZ is spelled OUAZ, and they're out of Arizona. So there is your top 25. Now we do have some related stories as we look at some players of the week and how they fared this past weekend, as Baker, Myers, and Edwards earned KCAC football weekly honors. Cavante Baker of Friends University and Bradley Myers and Jonah Edwards, both of number 20 Evangel University, have earned this week's KCAC football offensive, defensive, and special teams player of the week honors, respectively, the conference office announced on Monday. The 3 student athletes were selected for their performances from September the 18th to 24th by a vote of conference sports information directors. All KCAC players of the week honors are presented by Equity Bank. Offensive player of the week, Cavante Baker, Friends University, 5'11", 195-pound sophomore quarterback out of Wichita, Kansas. Baker impacted the game in every direction, rushing for 3 touchdowns and 104 yards while throwing for 1 score with a career-high 96 yards through the air in the Friends University Falcons' 36-13 homecoming victory over Tabor College. Baker is now tops in KCAC and NAIA with 11 rushing touchdowns this season and second in the KCAC in rushing yards per game at 106.2. So, congrats to Cavante Baker. Defensive player of the week, Bradley Myers, number 20 Evangel, Missouri, 5'11", 215 pounds, redshirt junior linebacker, Lee Summit, Missouri. Myers was all over the field on Saturday, recording 18 total tackles against Ottawa, including 6 solo and an assisted tackle for loss in Evangel's 27-21 victory. And special teams player of the week, Jonah Edwards, number 20 Evangel University, 5'10", 175-pound junior kicker out of Tulsa, Oklahoma. Edwards had a nice game against Ottawa, converting both field goal attempts for Evangel and nailing 3 point-after attempts, scoring a total of 9 points for the Velour in their 27-21 victory over Ottawa on Saturday. So there you have a little bit of NAIA and KCAC news. And what I also want to do, I want to go back and look at the results from some of the past week's games before I wrap up today's show of In the Zone. Hope you have really enjoyed it. Scores from this past week. University of St. Mary's defeats Bethany College 57-18. As you heard earlier in my Players of the Week report, Evangel University overcomes Ottawa by the score of 27-21. McPherson doubles up on Avila University by the score of 42-21. Southwestern, who is in the top 10 rankings, manhandled Sterling College. Of course, I plan on getting the coach for Sterling College on my podcast. Looking forward to that. But Southwestern comes out with the victory over Sterling College by the score of 48-10. Kansas Wesleyan University beats Bethel by the score of 24-14. And Tabor College was humbled by Friends University by the score of 36-13. So there you have a look at what's going on in KCAC and NAIA rankings. But as for me, it is time for me to get on out of here. But I hope you have enjoyed today's version of In the Zone, as I know I took it a different direction. But until the next time, always stay connected and locked in the zone. This is yours truly, Anthony Smith, saying I'm out. Enjoy the rest of your day.